Welcome to another video from Demystifying Proposals. Our mission is to break down the proposal process and make proposals make sense. In this video, we talk about how to make resumes compelling, not just compliant, but compelling. In this section, we talk about the basics. What do we mean when we say make something compelling? The government looks for strengths, weaknesses, and deficiencies. Strengths and weaknesses can also be termed significant strengths or significant weaknesses. The point of the things you do to try and make a proposal compelling is to emphasize what you believe are your strengths and significant strengths. Ways to make a proposal compelling include a compliant proposal. The evaluators won't even bother to look for strengths if they don't see your proposal as compliant. Second, it's important to have a well-written and well-formatted proposal. The evaluators will judge how your company is likely to perform the work by how the proposal reads and looks. Next, having strong win themes that come through in reading the proposal will help make your proposal compelling. Often these are shown in color boxes or bolded and italicized text. Finally, having strong proof points that are quantifiable and qualitative information that you can point to say you've done this work before and well. Resumes can be an overlooked part of the proposal. Some companies don't spend a lot of energy on resumes. They just make sure their key personnel meet the requirements and then they move on. But with work, resumes can help sell your solution and your company. As a reminder, we're going to walk through the government evaluation process. The first step usually in the government evaluation process is to review the proposal for compliance based on the proposal instructions in Section L. Non-compliance generally will kick a proposal out of any further review. Then they'll divide the proposal between a technical evaluation panel, or TEP, and a cost evaluation team. The TEP reviews compliant proposals against the evaluation criteria in Section M. Prior to the kickoff, the TEP chair will create a technical evaluation score sheet that the TEP will use to document their assessment of the proposal. The score sheet is the statement of work requirements, proposal instructions, and evaluation criteria. And then the contracting officer will use the TEP's evaluation as the basis for the source selection document. The cost evaluation panel reviews the cost proposal for cost realism, risks, and assumptions. So how do they get from there to strengths, weaknesses, and deficiencies? Section M, or the evaluation criteria, may have an evaluation scheme, such as excellent, very good, good, poor, weak. But ultimately, the TEP will use strengths, weaknesses, and deficiencies when they use their scoring. This leads to comparative scoring, such as this company's proposal had 3 significant strengths, 2 strengths, and 3 weaknesses versus another company's proposal that had 2 significant strengths, 4 strengths, and 2 weaknesses. And that's how they get to their excellent, very good, good, poor, or weak evaluation criteria. Your proposal's goal is to have as many significant strengths as possible and as few weaknesses as possible. Strengths come from win themes, features and benefits, clear structured approaches, proof points. Weaknesses come from unsubstantiated claims, unclear solutions, and undefined approaches. Deficiencies can kill a proposal's chance to win an award. So the definition of a strength is an aspect of an offeror's proposal that has merit or exceeds specified performance or capability requirements in a way that may be advantageous to the government during contract performance. A weakness means a flaw in the proposal that increases the risk of unsuccessful contract performance. A deficiency is a material failure of a proposal to meet a government requirement or a combination of significant weaknesses in a proposal that increases the risk of unsuccessful contract performance to an unacceptable level. So the first step in making your resumes compelling is compliance. Key personnel requirements show up in different RFPs in different places. They may be in Section C in the performance work statement or the statement of work, where they will list the requirements for the key personnel. Sometimes they're in Section H or the special contract requirements, which lists the qualifications the key personnel need to have. Section L, or the proposal instructions, may include how you should address the qualifications of your key personnel. Maybe they need to be listed in your management approach, for example. Section M, the evaluation criteria, may include criteria for evaluating resumes specifically, or you may just need to look at how the management section or volume is going to be evaluated. The resumes you submit should meet all of these requirements. So the first question you should ask is, do your key personnel meet the requirements? First and foremost, make sure the employees or the contingent staff, that is potential hires, meet all of the requirements of the RFP. If they don't, you could get dinged for that. Be prepared and possibly consider other candidates. If they don't, try to explain how the qualifications they do have mean they have the required skill sets. For example, sometimes personnel are required to have a technical degree. If your proposed staff do not, but have lots of technical experience, that experience may be seen as a substitute. Don't be shy about asking questions around key personnel during the quick Q&A part of the proposal response period. Consider asking if 10 years of IT experience, for example, is equivalent to a technical degree. Just be warned, the government could say no, and then you have to think about what you would do in that case. If the requirements are not the same in all the sections, if the requirements in Section C, for example, are different than the requirements in Section H, then consider asking a question, especially if you can get something changed in your favor. If a requirement is very specific, be warned that that may mean that the government is looking to keep the incumbent or ensure a new contractor hires incumbent staff. So don't forget to talk in your management section about how you could hire incumbent personnel. In the resumes, you want to show how your key personnel meet the requirements, and you want to make it simple for the government to find that information. So make sure the summary of experience includes the same language as the key personnel requirements. If the requirements are extensive, then summarize the salient requirement in the summary of experience. Also, put the requirements at the beginning of the resume in one column, and in the second column, show a direct correlation of your employee's experience. Usually we start these with a check mark icon and then talk about how they meet or exceed the requirement. Hopefully your proposed key personnel exceed more often than they meet the requirements. If the key personnel are required to have a certain number of years of experience, be sure their resume shows that many years of experience. We often have to shorten resumes because of page limits, so don't forget this requirement when you're editing your resumes. Now that you've got compliant resumes, let's take the next step and make them compelling. You want to show how your key personnel's experience maps to the tasks. So use the descriptions of your key personnel's previous jobs to map their experience to the tasks in the statement of work or performance work statement for that position. Make sure that all of the elements of the statement of work or performance work statement are addressed in the experience of your key personnel across the board. Even if not everyone has that experience, if you can cover it across all of the key personnel resumes, then you're showing that at least someone has the experience with each of the requirements. Don't forget to use the RFP's language. If their experience, your key staff, if their experience is similar, change the description in the resume to match the language of the RFP for that previous job so that it reflects the statement of work or the performance of work statement. Doing this is similar to what you do for proof points that you should already have in your proposal. You are proving your team has the experience that's required. The next step is to make it really easy for the evaluators to find the information by putting the SAO or PWS reference in parentheses where the resume meets the requirement. For example, task 1 in the statement of work is very often program management. And you have to show that the program manager must meet with the customer monthly or submit a monthly status report. Those are common requirements in task 1 of a statement of work. So make sure your proposed program manager's experience includes a sentence about meeting with the previous customers on the status of the program as presented in the MSR. Even better if he or she has done this for multiple clients. Even better if he or she was able to communicate something challenging and get it resolved in that MSR meeting. So, for example, some language like use the monthly meeting to discuss the MSR with the government program officer, addressed the schedule issue by highlighting an upcoming milestone and how the team was ensuring on-time delivery despite a colleague's planned absence. You'll note also that there are the SAO references in parentheses in this language. So make it really easy for the evaluators to find the information that shows that experience maps to the tasks that are required. So another example, if you have a solution architect and they have to have experience with a particular technology, doing something in particular with it, then make sure that his or her resume shows not only that technology in the list of technologies, but also includes a specific example in the body of the resume of how they actually used that technology for a client. Another step you can take to show how your key personnel's experience is compelling is to think about your proposal's win themes. What are your customers' hot buttons? Why are they doing this procurement? How do you know what the current solution is? Does the current solution that you're proposing meet those needs? Does the key personnel's experience back up your win themes? Show it. Add where they met a customer's hot button. Ask where they talked about the using the same solution that you're proposing. You can get strengths in the evaluation from your key personnel's resumes. On the other hand, if you make the evaluators hunt for the requirements, the evaluators may find weaknesses in the resumes. The third step in making your resumes compelling is going back to the basics. And what we mean by the basics are formatting and editing. As with other parts of the proposal, make sure the resumes are formatted the same and edited. So your date format should look the same. You either use May 2004 or you use 05 2004. Pick one style and use it across all of the resumes. Generally speaking, days aren't required, so you don't need to do 05, 02, 2004. Most people aren't going to have those dates, so just take them out. And then be consistent in whether you use an M dash or a hyphen between the dates and spaces or not spaces around the M dash or the hyphen. As shown here, there are lots of different ways to format it, and it's okay to use any one of those. Just make them consistent across all of the resumes. You also want to spell out acronyms on first use across the resumes, just as you did in the body of the proposal. You can assume the same evaluators will read all the resumes, so you don't have to restart the acronyms again with each resume, but you should consider the resumes another quote volume of the proposal. And so I would spell out the acronyms on first use, just as you did in the body of the proposal. And then make sure that the resumes are actually edited to make sure they're clear and concise. And watch the amount of text speak you use, unless you're sure that the evaluators will really understand it. And then, of course, run spell check. We hope you enjoyed this video from Demystifying Proposals. If you learned something from this video, please hit the thumbs up and like the video. And then subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to be notified of future videos. If you'd like, leave a comment as well. Thank you.